on YouTube? How's everybody today? It's nice to hear. So today I want to talk about a really old album I got. This is a 2008 reissue of Brian Eno and Robert Fripp's No Pussyfooting album. It was originally released on Island Records in 1973, and it's a proto-ambient record, meaning it is a prototype for ambient music, and was basically made on just these Robert Fripp on guitar, and then Eno just tampering with the music with two tape recorders that played the sound. That played one sound that would repeat itself a little later, depending on how far apart the two tape recorders were apart from each other. That's how long the delay would be, and just him manipulating the sound again, because it would always play over and over at a lower and lower volume, and he would just like disable and enable the device. Well, Robert Fripp would just play these really epic kind of guitar solos, like did all this kind of just improv guitar, I guess, and that's pretty much all they use. There's a little bit of synthesizer and an effects pedal also used, but yeah, this technique became known as Fripptronics, I guess. I'm not really all that familiar with the recording technique. I'm not much of a studio geek per se, but No Pussyfooting is essentially just two long tracks. One's called The Heavenly Music Corporation, who was originally going to be called The Transcendental Musical Corporation, but Brian Eno felt that if they called the track that, then people would think that they're taking this kind of music seriously, when he just wanted to just be fucking around in the studio, just doing experimental music. Nothing he was like actually putting all that much thought in. It was just kind of just for fun. And then the second track called Swastika Girls, and it was called Swastika Girls because Brian Eno had a pornographic picture of these naked Nazi girls saluting, and he taped it to the recording machine, so while they were making this music, they would always be looking at these naked girls doing the Heil Hitler kind of arm movement thing, salute. So yeah, I don't know what the hell that has to do with the music, though. The music is pretty much just this ethereal kind of ambient music. The first track, Heavenly Music Corporation, is actually 5 tracks that spread over 20 minutes, almost 21 minutes. And it's just like droning guitars, transcendental kind of noises, and just like it's like how I explained it, it's like looped sounds. Like he'll play a guitar sound and then it'll get looped again, and it'll create this big wall, dense layer of sound. I actually got, like I said, the 2008 recording, which is a double disc, and it actually has on the second disc is the first song, Heavenly Music Corporation, played at half speed, and then Swastika Girls played in reverse. And the first CD actually has the first song, Heavenly Music Corporation, played in reverse, because that's how it was originally played on the BBC radio. They sent the reel to the radio station with the tail end out, and then they played it backwards on the air, and Brian Eno actually caught wind of this and phoned in and told them, like, yo, they're playing this backwards. But they thought it was a prank call. That's so the story goes. So they put it on here, so you get to listen to these like half speed and played in reverse. It's a pretty good album. It's pretty, one of those, like I said, a proto-ambient album. Ambient music is just atmospheric music. It doesn't rely too much on structure or meaning. You just kind of have to give it your own meaning to it. It's just there to kind of change your mood, change the environment you're in. It's like mood-setting music. There's all kinds of like weird melodies and harmonies and melodic elegance going on in here, but it's mostly just like mind-expanding, big old soundscapes and like innovative studio techniques and stuff. Robert Fripp used to be in the band King Crimson, which is this big prog rock band, and Brian Eno was in Roxy Music, of course. It was kind of like a pop rock band, and I guess they were both kind of disgruntled, rock stars by that point, so they just really wanted to do something different, do something more genre bending. So they just came up with this music. They didn't set out to make ambient music. They just set out to, just do something different in the studio. Swastika Girls, the second song of the album, was actually recorded a year after the first one. So this actually took, 2 years to make, but 3 days total out of those 2 years, because they didn't hook up that much, I guess. But yeah, it's a pretty cool album. Like I said, it's all layered and dense. Just guitar sounds, guitar swells. Some of the guitars sound like, airplanes taking off or like helicopters flying overhead and stuff. The track we're listening to right now is actually the Heavenly Music Corporation played at half speed, so instead of being 20 minutes, it's 41 minutes. And it sounds very much so like, you know, kind of like an Earth album almost, just with big drones, big swells like that. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say. It's been re-released a bunch of times, originally released in 1973, and no one really liked it back then. There was no real music like this beforehand, so people didn't really know how to take it. I guess people took their music very seriously back then, and it had to be something you had to listen to. They weren't used to having music that you could just play in the background as atmosphere music, so it was kind of pushed aside, and a lot of record stores were selling it at a half price, and it didn't sell very well, didn't make any charts, that's for sure. And I don't think playing it backwards on the BBC helped anything. But it was re-released again in 1987, and modern music fans back then kind of liked it a lot more. Than they finally released it again in 2008, this kind of, I don't know, deluxe edition, I guess. But anyway, yeah, I'm not too familiar with the recording style of it, the studio tricks they were using and stuff. But the music they made, it's pretty interesting stuff. I really like it. If you're a fan of experimental music and you want to get into like the roots of like ambient music, mood-setting music, you should definitely check this out, because it's really enjoyable to listen to. There's all kinds of weird sounds and swells going on in here. Definitely very interesting stuff. One bad thing about this album, though, is even though it invented like cool experimental music and ambient music, it kind of generated this whole new age music, new age, which is kind of like ambient music, but a lot more kind of world music orientated, I guess. I don't know a lot about new age music. I try to avoid it, but stuff like Enya, I guess, is new age. I don't know if you guys know any shitty new age bands, type them in the comments, because I can't really think of any right now. Yeah, cool little innovative album. Brian Eno and Robert Fripp, no pussyfooting in brackets. Originally released in 1973, deluxe edition 2008. Released on a bunch of record labels. I'll list them in the description box. I'm out.